Alrighty, cherubs. So we've got a lot to cover today, and I'm super excited about this. This is some really, really good stuff. Today, we're going to be talking about the luxury items that come out of West and Central Asia. So there are quite a few pieces that we've got to get through today. So hang on to your hats. We're in for a wild ride. Okay. The video list, as always, is linked down below. So go ahead and give these guys a watch. They're going to give you some supplementary information, and they're also going to indicate to you kind of the size of these things, especially the first thing, the Ardabil Carpet packing. Please watch that video just so you get a sense of the scale of this item. The other videos, again, are going to give you some more information about those pieces. So go ahead and give them a watch. Make sure that you take your quiz on the non-mosque architecture from last time. Now, here's our timeline, and I've broken it up into a slightly different one. Okay, so we've got here are our countries that we're going to be that we have looked at and are going to continue to look at. We've got our buildings, so you can kind of orient yourself. We've got the Umayyads doing the mosque in Cordoba. We've got, here, let me grab the laser. We've got the Alhambra by the Nasrids. Okay, this is all in Spain. The Mamluks we haven't looked at yet. We'll get to them in Egypt. The Ottoman Turks in Turkey. In Palestine and in Syria, we've got the Umayyads again, creating the Dome of the Rock really early on. And then later, their successors are the Abbasids, and they're going to create this Quranic piece. We've got the Mongols who are creating a piece, as well as the Safavids, who are going to be doing book illustration as well as making carpets. And we've got the Moguls again in India. So we're just revisiting groups and people that you've seen before. So nothing new, nothing crazy. Okay. And we're just seeing some more of their works. Okay. I'm going to move this off to the side. Okay. So we've got the Ardabil Carpet. We've got the Pixas of Almughirah. We've got the Baptisere of St. Louis, or the Basin. And then we have 4 manuscripts. We've got a folio from the Qur'an. We've got the Court of Gayumars. We've got Bahram Gur fights the Karg. And Jahangir preferring a Sufi Shaikh. Now, these pieces, again, span the Islamic world and span time periods as well. Okay, but they're going to show kind of the richness and the luxury that, excuse me, is going to be created in the Islamic world. Okay, so this is our last hurrah here in the Islamic world. So we're going to start now. Normally, before I move on, normally what would happen is we would break up these pieces, because there are so many. We would break up these pieces and you would study one in depth in class, and we would parse them out and learn from each other. Okay, because there are so many, and we could take a deeper dive. So you're going to see a lot of information that I'm giving you, like multiple video clips, articles, etc., as we move on through this slide presentation. And that's because we would be doing a deeper dive into one of these pieces. Obviously, we're not going to do that right now during dismissal and distance learning shenanigans. Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to give you the best parts version of these pieces. And by all means, if something doesn't make sense, or if you need some more information, there's going to be articles linked. There's going to be other websites linked. There's going to be videos. Please watch, read, search. Okay, get some more information. So we're going to move into Iran. And we're going to be looking at the Ardabil Carpet. Okay, now the Ardabil Carpet is a prayer rug. It was built for a shrine that was created in the kind of the northwest corner of Iran, of Persia. And it was created as a set of two. Okay, there were twin rugs. So this is just one of them. The end gives us a couple lines of poetry in which it explains that Maksud of Kashan is the creator. Okay, that he was the guy, he was the person in charge of making carpets. So this is made out of silk and wool. It sits on the Persia sits, of course, on the Silk Road. So they can import silk from China, and they're going to combine it with wool to give it a more substantive feel, and so it's going to last longer. Now, the Ardabil carpet is important in the fact that it is the oldest dated carpet on the planet. Okay, so we check out the date, 1539 to 1540 is when it was created. And the fact that it was created over this period of a year, it is completely massive. Okay, it is made out of little teeny tiny knots and of these threads, and they've been knotted to create the pile of this carpet, and there are millions of knots in this carpet. Now, if we take a peek at it, you can see that the center design, this medallion design, it should look familiar to you because it is the inside of a dome. Okay, so it's the inside of a dome, inside of a mosque, and you see the little lantern. If my thing will escape or go away here. I'll move off to the side. Down below on the left, you can see, if you go straight down from the dome, it's going to reappear right. But look right here when this little gray box disappears, you'll see there's a lantern hanging down. And that's what is showing. They're showing these twin lanterns also appearing on the carpet. See, there it is. Check it out. You see that little hanging lamp? That's what these guys are. And if you look in the corners, you see these little quarter medallions as well. That's for those are the pendentives. Okay, so it represents the dome inside of a mosque and is, of course, a prayer rug. Okay, and again, it does have some, like I said, a couple lines of poetry indicating the creator, Maksud of Kashan. Okay, here it is. And you can see it stretched out before you, but then again, that still doesn't give you the full scope. Yeah, so go ahead and watch the packing video, the packaging where they're rolling it up, and you can see or unrolling it, I guess, and you can see just how massive this thing is. It is enormous. Okay, so again, it was built for a shrine, for a Shia shrine in Iran. And we're going to move on. Okay, so it is a prayer rug. Okay, 25 million knots. So again, the notes for all of these pieces are going to be taken for you, but go ahead and add additional information to it from the other things that you glean. So it is the world's oldest carpet. It was made by, it was wool and silk. It was woven by 10 people, and they were probably men, while women normally were the weavers of the I don't want to say ancient world because it's from the gunpowder period, but in olden times, let's go there. And but because of its size and because it was its situation, it was a shrine good, that it was going to be probably done by men. Okay, so it's going to be commissioned by the Shah of Persia, the king of Persia. And it's going to be, he's going to elevate carpet making to a national industry, okay, which means that you've heard of a Persian rug before, okay, the idea of the, quote, forgive me, flying carpet, okay, from fantasy stories. It comes from Persia, okay, the Persian rug. It comes from Iran. And it comes from this moment in time where they're going to elevate carpet making into this industry, and they're going to export these rugs all over the world. So it's really, really quite remarkable. Okay. Um, a single weaver. So this is why they had multiple people doing it, because a single weaver, it should have taken them 20 years. So in a square inch, so a square inch is like, about that big. 340 knots in a square inch. That's crazy. That is some sophisticated carpet making. So this is just really, really this spectacular piece. Yeah. So this is the Ardabil Carpet. Okay. Now, excuse me. And this was done in the Safavid dynasty. Okay. So remember the Safavids of Isfahan who create the Masjid-e-Jama? They're also going to make the Ardabil Carpet. Now, if we go back to Al-Andalus, okay, if we go back to the Umayyads of Al-Andalus, we're going to find the Pixas of Almughirah. Now, a Pyxis is going to be a small container. Generally, they would have been made out of ceramics. Okay, they would have been made out of clay. But this one is made out of ivory. So they're going to be importing ivory from Africa, again, showing their wealth. These are the same guy. This is Abd al-Rahman. Okay, this is one of his descendants who's commissioning this piece. Okay, and the prince's name is al-Mughira. Okay, that's why it's called the Pixas of Almughirah. It was created for a prince, and it's a smell good jar. It contains aromatics. Okay, made out of ivory, and it has a dedication in Arabic. And if you look at that script, see that script? That's Kufic. That's a Kufic script. See, I told you it was going to haunt you again and again. That Kufic script, dedicating it to Prince al-Mughira. Okay. Now, on the medallions throughout, you're getting, again, this lovely arabesque, but you're getting human figures as well as real and fantastic creatures all the way around. And it's okay to depict humans and animals on this item because it is not a sacred object. It's a secular object. So they let it slide. Okay. So again, we get these medallions that circle the whole Pyxis and are going to be having these human forms, these animal forms. You can see a camel right here. And if you watch some of the videos about this, they're going to show you some more of the creatures. You get birds, lions, etc., that are depicted on the Pyxis of Almughirah. Okay, so you can see on the backside some more figures. So go ahead and give some of these a watch, or click on one of the other things so that you can see more of what the Pixis of Almughirah is. So this is coming to us from Andalusia, from Al-Andalus, from Spain during the Umayyad dynasty. Okay? So again, horror vacui, which means that there's no empty space. There's no negative space. There's no place for your eyes to rest. They're just constantly moving from thing to thing because it's just completely filled. Again, remember, horror vacui means fear of empty spaces. They're not really afraid, but they're just saying it's full of decoration. Okay? Yeah. So now we're going to be looking at, now you got two countries highlighted here. We've got Egypt as well as France. Okay, what are you even talking about? Okay, we're going to be talking about the basin, and its secondary title is the Baptisere of St. Louis. Now, if we check this out, you can see that it does have a calligraphic script. Okay, it does have an Arabic script. It does have horror vacui. It does have arabesque designs throughout. It does have real and fantastical animals. It does have human figures. It does have medallions all the way around it. And so you can see how very similar it is to the Pixis of Almughirah. Now, if we check out the date, it's about 400 years after the Pixis of Almughirah. And what this basin is, it's gold, or excuse me, brass, and it's going to be inlaid with silver with a little bit of gold inlay as well. Now, clearly you can see there's a unicorn, there's an elephant, got a cheetah, so good. Okay, so the basin is going to be a wash basin. Now, not just to wash your face or for anyone to wash their face. It is, we suspect that it's going to be a ceremonial wash basin, perhaps for prayer, perhaps for an important person, because look at the design of this thing. This was not common by any stretch of the imagination. The artist gets identified. The artist gets identified in the calligraphy as Muhammad ibn al-Zayn. Okay, so you do need to know that. The basin is going to fall into the hands of the French kings. And so it's going to take on a second life, originally perhaps a wash basin, perhaps for prayer, perhaps for other ceremonial washings. And it's going to fall into the hands of the French kings. How that happens, we're not sure. Okay, but it does fall into the hands of the French kings, and they in turn use it as a baptismal font. So this object takes on a second life as a baptismal font for the French monarchy. Okay, and it is housed in the Louvre. I didn't get the chance to see it, but it is housed in the Louvre, and it now has a third life as an aesthetic object. So you can see again that art pieces, as they move down through the corridors of time, they are going to change their purpose. So go ahead and give these clips a watch. They're going to give you some more information about it. So originally, washing hands for ceremonies. Again, which ceremonies, we're not entirely sure. But its later use is going to be the baptisms for the children of the French royal family. Okay, the Mamluks are coming out of Egypt. Okay, they're going to be slaves who later take over and create an empire based in Egypt. Okay, so again, the association with Saint Louis is fictional. It is going to be from the Mamluks. Okay. Now, our next piece is going to be coming to us from Palestine, Jordan, Syria region. And it's going to be the Abbasids, the successors, the people who drove out the Umayyads. All right, and so what we're going to be seeing is a folio, is a page from the Qur'an. We've seen a couple pages from different Bible texts. We've seen the Lindisfarne Gospels. We've seen the Vienna Genesis. We've seen the Biblia Moralise. We've seen the Jewish Haggadah. Okay, so this is a page from a Qur'an. Now you can check it out. Hopefully the angular geometric script looks familiar to you, and you can identify it right now as Kufic. Okay. We're not entirely sure if this is North African or Syrian, but we're going to go with Syria for our purposes. Check it out. Check out the date, 700 CE. It is going to be on parchment ink with gold. Now, Arabic is a language that, like Hebrew, again, reads right to left. And it also omits the vowels. Okay, so it doesn't include the vowel markers, or excuse me, it doesn't include the vowels usually. You don't need the vowels to write Arabic as well as Hebrew. What the red dots are is that they're going to be giving us, and the little piles and the little lines here, you can see the little indications. They're going to be giving us the vowel markers to like make it more correct. So you don't have to, but you certainly can write those in. And that's what they're giving us here. So this is a folio from the Quran. Okay. It is meant to be read congregationally. It is meant to be, so that's why they're using Kufic, so you can see it from a distance. Okay. It is a large manuscript. Go ahead and give this little video a watch. They're going to talk some more about it. And these two clips are about just writing in Arabic calligraphy. They're just going to give you more flavor about learning the art of writing Arabic calligraphy. Very interesting, as well as some more information about this particular piece. Okay, so it is a holy text, and it is written in the Kufic script. Okay, so it is angular. It is meant to be seen from a distance, so that people from a distance can read it as well. They're going to be codified in the mid-7th century, the Qur'an is. And there it is, the folio from the Qur'an. Okay. Going back to Iran and going back to, let's see if we're... Okay. So what this piece is, and the next two pieces that we're going to be looking at, this is also from the Safavids. It's called the Court of Gayumars. And if you click on this, the high res, please click on the high res, because you're going to be able to see such great detail in this piece. Now, you're going to say to yourself, I see people. Yes, this is not a Quran. Okay, this is not a holy text. What this is, it's the Shahnameh, the Shahnameh. Okay, the Shahnameh, and this is the Sultan Muhammad's personal copy, which is why it's so luxurious. The Shahnameh is an epic poem. It is rhymed, it is metered, and it is written in Persian, not Arabic. Okay, the Shahnameh is the legendary history of, it's the epic poem that tells the history of Persia before Islam. Okay, and so that's what this is showing us. Is showing us an early king, Gayumars, and his sons and attendants. Now you can see in this picture, and again, I highly recommend that you click on the high-res image, that you're going to see that it looks very, very Asian in our minds, what we think of as Asian. Okay, you're going to see this kind of vertical stacking, kind of this weightlessness of these figures. You're going to see these very ethereal trees and plants. You're going to see this kind of flattened look. You're going to see kind of this misty, the shapes of the rocks and the trees and the forms and the land kind of disappearing into this mist as it moves down the page. And that, again, is very, very Asian. So, again, Iran, Persia, is sitting on the Silk Road, connecting East and West, connecting China to Europe. So they're going to draw influences clearly from China and take artistic cues from this cultural hub of China. So you're going to see those indications here. Okay, so go ahead and click on this. You can see that, again, the vertical stacking. There's not a real sense of depth. They're also going to be using this thing that's called an isometric projection. Okay, they're not going to be using linear perspective. Things aren't going to move. They're not going to get smaller as they move through space. And this is very Asian, okay, the use of the isometric projection. They just kind of extend into space without getting smaller. There's no vanishing point. And it appears that you've kind of up and elevated and looking at this diagonal. And that's what an isometric projection is. So you can see from the page here that we're kind of up and elevated, and we're seeing these things go off into the distance. And we're going to see more of the isometric projection as we move through Asia. Okay. So the Shahnameh, the Court of Gayumars, and this is from Shah Tahmasp's Shahnameh, copy of the Shahnameh. Okay. So we've got, again, Gayumars, the first king of Persia. We've got his son and his grandson surrounded by attendants here on this first page. So it is flattened. It has a vertical stacking. We're using the isometric projection. And the Shahnameh is the Book of Kings. The Shah of Persia, the king of Persia, is the Shahnameh is the Book of Kings. telling the story of the founding and the pre-Islamic history of Persia. Staying in Persia, then, we're going to get another copy of the Shahnameh. But this one is going to be previous. This one's going to be older than Gayumars. Okay, so the Court of Gayumars, again, is a Safavid piece. We've seen the Safavids before. Now, this copy of the Shahnameh is from the Ilkhanid dynasty. The Ilkhanids are, if you check out, see that, the Khan, you can see where we're going. The Ilkhanid dynasty is the name given to the Mongol dynasty of Persia. So what they were doing is, the Mongols, is they were assimilating themselves into Persian culture, and they were saying very clearly, like, as they learned Persian and they learned how to assimilate into Persian society, they are going to commission, for example, this piece and say very clearly, like, oh, we're Persian too, so like, we have the right to rule because, see, we're really Persian. Okay, so what they're going to do is commission this piece, the Mongols, and use this text of the great founding of Persia. Okay, to demonstrate their legitimacy. Okay, now if we take a look at this piece, this folio, this page is called Bahram Gur fights the Karg. Bahram Gur fights the Karg. Go ahead and say that. That's just rolls off the tongue. And again, click on for the high res so you can see a better image of what's happening here. Bahram Gur, again, a historical figure, one of the kings of Persia. Now this one's looking, if we check this out, you're going to see, again, a lot of Asian influence. You're going to see the flatness of the trees. They look very Chinese, okay, very Asian. You're going to see the fact that we're moving back through space, but it's all been flattened, okay? If you check out his face, again, it bears very Asian qualities, all right? The blue sky, that's remarkable because in Europe, in 1350, they're not using the blue sky. Okay, I'll tell you that much. Now, check this out, though. So you can see the reach of the Mongol Empire because they're incorporating not only Asian influences, but European influences as well. So the king here has a European-style crown, one. He's also got a European-style halo, as well as, if you look at his tunic, he's got fleur-de-lis. And now fleur-de-lis are going to be the symbol of the royalty of France. So he's going to be bearing markers of European as well as Asian influences here coming together in this Mongol-controlled Persia. So it's really this fascinating text. Again, the text is written in Persian, not in Arabic. As that's Bahram Gur. Now, as for the Karg, you can see him. He's kind of got this boar face, and he's got these these feline paws, okay, and this tail, which feels raccoonish, but raccoons are New World animals, so they wouldn't have known about a raccoon, but this kind of striped fuzzy tail, as well as its single horn. So Karg is a type of wild bestial unicorn. It's a mythical monster, okay, with the kind of this boar snout, these claws, single horn. Yeah, it's this hybrid monster, and Bahram Gur fights and defeats this monster in this part of the story. Okay, so that is Bahram Gur fighting the Karg. All right, and again, it's a different illustration from the Shahnameh, from a different copy of the Shahnameh. And our last piece comes from India. Okay? Now, you remember the Mughal dynasty, the roundabout second cousins, twice removed dynasty of the Mongols. Okay, the Moguls of India, they're going to rule an empire in India. Now, you remember Shah Jahan, who builds the Taj Mahal for Mumtaz Mahal, his wife. Okay, this is his relative, Jahangir. Shah Jahan, like of the Taj Mahal. Okay, this is his, I believe it's his grandfather, Jahangir. Okay, who gets illustrated in this folio. And again, click for high res. You're going to want to see this. And it is Jahangir preferring a Sufi sheikh to kings. You can see the influence at 1620. So this is much later. Okay, so this is after the Renaissance. This is during the Baroque period in Europe. And you can see the East-West influence as well. Okay, so in India, and in Persia, they're going to specialize in these miniatures, miniature paintings that are sometimes included in books and sometimes stand alone. Now you can check this out. Again, you can see the Western influence. You can see his halo. Okay, and he even actually does include the sun behind his head. But then you also get the crescent moon for Islam. So you see the combination of the sun and the moon. That combination is going to come up again, so keep that in the back and just squirrel that away. It's a combination of the sun and the moon, okay? But the crescent moon for Islam. You're going to be seeing little cherubs, they're called putti, little cherubs. That's an import from the West. More little cherubs down here. Now you see that the throne that he's sitting on is an hourglass. And you're going to see a Sufi, a humble Sufi sheikh. Now remember, Sufism is the mystical branch of Islam, the meditative branch of Islam. So, and a sheikh is the monk who meditates here in Sufism, okay, in Sufi Islam. Now he's giving him a book, okay. So he's preferring what this is. It's a humble brag. He's saying that, see, I, the king of the world, master of time and space, and that's really what he's saying here, sitting on this hourglass. And I prefer to surround myself with humble religious men as opposed to kings. So if you check this out, this is the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, right? And this is James I of England. So he prefers to chat and spend his time with humble, simple religious folk rather than kings. And that's what he is. It's a humble brag. And he's on this glorious carpet. So good. Now, this guy down here, this is the artist. And the artist's name is Baptisere. Okay? Baptisere. And so he's included himself in this little self-portrait down here in the corner. Again, click on the high-res link. You won't be disappointed. It's glorious. And you can see how, they watercolor this. So you can see the misty, veily, gauzy translucence of his shirt. It's remarkable. This is Jahangir preferring a Sufi sheikh to kings. Okay. So these are our pieces. And again, this is the best parts version. This is the good parts version. Go ahead and click on any of the videos or the articles to find out more information about any and all of these pieces. You won't be disappointed. There is a lot happening here. Okay. So these are our pieces, our luxury item pieces for today. And next time, we're going to be doing Hinduism in India. So until next time, have a great weekend, be safe, and be healthy.